Yo, what's up, family? Before we start the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and share to any and everyone that you can. Just so we know out there a little bit more. With that being said, let's get right into the video. Alright, how y'all doing? I hope y'all doing good. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, make sure to take your shoes off before you come out. And the Boston Celtics got a really good win against the NBA leading Oklahoma City Thunder, who were fully healthy in this game, of course, without Thomas Sober, who hasn't been there all season. They had won 12 straight coming into this game, 17-3 in their last 20, but the Boston Celtics got revenge on them, and they got a win. And let's get right into it, man. This is probably going to be one of my longest videos of all time, so I would appreciate if you guys stuck with me as we break this thing all down. So the very first thing I was really excited to see, even before the tip-off, was the defensive matchups on both sides. The first time we saw them, we did not have Tatum, we did not have Derek White. So we had Shaman in, Ron Harper Jr. played a lot. We had stuff like that, right? Fully healthy Tatum is one of the more versatile defenders in the NBA, and the Celtics would elect to put him on opposing fives often. In the playoff runs, he would check Jared Allen, he would check Evan Mobley, Miles Turner. In the finals, he would check Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively to take away the effectiveness of the pick and rolls and force somebody else to screen who isn't the lob threat of those guys, right? And we haven't been doing too much of that his first 9 games, well, his first 8 games. He's played 9 games, including this game. But in this game, we didn't have much of a choice when OKC goes double big with these 2 guys. Tatum, of course, is the power forward, so he's going to be checking Chet, which he was in this game. And I thought Tatum did a nice job. But the other matchups, of course, we got Cato on Isaiah Hartenstein, JB on Shea to start the game, and Sam Hauser on Lou Dort. And I thought that was interesting because if I had to guess, it would be Tatum on I Heart Sam or JB on Chet, because I believe Sam or Shaman checked Chet last game and it worked pretty fine. But the Celtics love to have Cato on a non-shooting threat, so that's why I thought he was going to be on Dort so he can help off and stuff like that. But this is how the Celtics ran with it to begin the game. All right, so here OKC runs stagger screens. On one side, stagger screens are 2 the same off-ball screens with just a little bit of space in between them. Here for J-Dub as he comes off both of them, but this just occupies all the defenders on this side, and they end up getting to a 2-man game right here with Shea and Isaiah Hartenstein. But man, listen, man. listen, man. I talk a lot about Tatum's gravity. There are not a lot of guys that I believe have as much or more gravity than Tatum. There's about 4 or 5 guys in that conversation. Shea is one of those guys. And it makes more sense. This was my point throughout the whole finals, man. Like, yes, I completely understand that, hey, man, if the Oklahoma City Thunder are playing Anthony Edwards and he has Rudy Gobert in the lineup, he has Kyle Anderson in the lineup, he has Jaden McDaniels before he took a 3-point leap, and then he has a struggling Karl Anthony Towns. Yes, it makes so much sense to send 3 guys at Anthony Edwards. If Shea Gilgeous-Alexander has Isaiah Hartenstein on the floor and Lou Dort on the floor, of course it makes sense to do this to this guy. But my thing in the championship run was Jason Tatum was surrounded by Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis, Jrue Holiday, who was having the best 3-point corner shooting season of all time, Sam Hauser, Al Horford. These are great shooters, and teams still did not care. But as it pertains to this game, I did not care that Lou Dort hit any threes. Now, he shot good in this game. He was 4 for 6, but anytime he shot the ball, I did not waver at all. He hits his first one, didn't matter. All right, so talk about leaving guys open. OKC had a very interesting strategy in this. We, of course, decided to leave Lou Dort open. The Celtics go to zoom action here. Zoom is when somebody receives an off-ball screen to go receive a dribble handoff. So Sam Hauser is going to set that off-ball screen right there for Jason Tatum, and he's going to come and get this handoff from Neemias Queta. We obviously are going to leave Lou Dort open because he's not a great shooter. But what OKC did in this game, they left Sam Hauser open. Now, this is a guy that has shot 40% from 3 every year of his career. This year, he's at 38%. We know that he's up and down sometimes, but they decided to leave this guy open. Now, for this first play, he hit this one, right? But I want you guys to see the coverage on Tatum, right? Every single pick and roll that Tatum was a handler in, he was blitzed. They showed 2. They were up to the level. There was no drop coverage against Tatum at all in this game. He killed them when they sent 2 to him, which was all game. But this is what this does, right? When they send 2, the big is off of Queta, right? There's a 2-on-1 situation with our big rolling and a shooter in a lot of these situations. Now, Tatum is such a great passer that he knows that Chet's first instinct is to go down and try to tag this roller. He knows that, so he doesn't even waste no time. He gets the ball, goes right to Sam Hauser as Chat goes to Keita, and Sam knocks his first one down. But yeah, as I said, they left Sam Hauser open for his first stint, and he was 1 for 6 in the first quarter, and they were all open looks. These are all looks that you would love Sam Hauser to get. The offense was moving. They were getting open shots for one of their best shooters on the team, and he just wasn't hitting them. And it's not like you don't want Hauser taking these shots, but it was rough for him, especially in the first quarter. And something else I noticed very early in this game was there was a lot of dump downs to the Miss Keita, and this comes with a lot of different things, right? So again, I talked about how they blitzed Tatum and they showed to Tatum every single time he was the handler in a pick and roll. That obviously leaves Keita open, and it gives us the 2-on-1 situation that I talked about in that last play with Sam Hauser, right? But also, when our guys drove, right, you got Isaiah Hartenstein in the paint sometimes, you got Chet in the paint sometimes. There's always going to be a competent protector of the rim. So when we drive and they come up on our drives and try to help, we got Demetrius Kid down there. He had 13 points in this game. All right, I feel very comfortable saying this because of the second half that he had, but Jaylen Brown's first half was not a good one. He did not do a great job of diagnosing the Thunder's defense. He was 3 for 10 in the first half with 3 turnovers. But again, I feel very comfortable saying that because, again, I believe that the third quarter that he had in this game was the best third quarter of his season. I know he's had better statistical quarters, but the way he read the defense compared to the first half, his control, his poise, his help manipulation, did everything. And that bad shot that he took led to OKC getting a lob. And I thought, well, everybody thought that Joe Mazzulla was calling a timeout here, but he did not. All right, so even though the Thunder were up 7 points after this caused them to call a timeout before us. A great chase down block and great effort from the Mia Skater here. And we get Tatum with a layup that completely stopped the Thunder's momentum. All right, so now we have reserves in on both sides. We got Caruso and Casey Wallace in the game. And for us, we have Payne Pritchard, Bailey Scheinman, and Ugo Gonzalez in the game. And this was like the contributions we got from Ugo early on and Bailey Scheinman the entire game. Of course, when we talked about Sam Hauser not being able to hit his shots, these guys came in and they were ready. But Casey Wallace and Alex Caruso are two guys that we don't mind shooting at all. And when Shai's in the lineup with Caruso, Dort, and Casey Wallace, things are going to be really tough for him. So here, Alex Caruso says that pin down for him, but you see Payne Pritchard come all the way over there. Keita is guarding Caruso, and you see how much space he's giving him. Right, so we got 3 guys on Shai right there as Casey Wallace is going to shoot this 3, and he's not going to hit it. Then we go down the other end. JB's going to get the ball. He's going to attack, but he's going to do a nice job reading the defense on this play. Right, he's going to be patient. He's going to look off Alex Caruso over there, and then he's going to turn his back, and he gets it off before Casey Wallace can go get the ball. And this was very huge from Ugo to knock down his first 3. All right, so right after Ugo knocks down that 3, we get back on defense, and you see what's going to happen to Shai, right? So when somebody sets a screen and roll, like basically anybody, I didn't see this on Chet a lot, but when Caruso, Dort, or somebody that we don't respect sets a screen, we're sending 2 at Shai, and we're forcing that guy ideally to shoot a 3 on the pop. And Caruso was 1 for 8, mostly on pops after the screens in this game, and we just let him shoot whatever he wants. When he sets the screen and he's open right here when he's going to get into the short roll, but because we don't respect Alex Caruso, Keita's able to just come right over here and stop this roll from Chet, and the pass has to go to Caruso. We see we're daring him to shoot, not really closing out that hard, and they end up missing the shot. I see the Celtics go to an action that they've used a lot this season, which is double get. Get action is when somebody passes the ball to somebody to immediately go get it back. So Payne Pritchard passes it to Luka Garza with the sole purpose of going to get the ball back. And the double part is, of course, the 2 screens right here. Now, the difference in this play with Tatum or Brown as a screener in this action, the person that's on them is going to be the primary defender, right? So usually that person doesn't want to switch off of those guys. So with the Oklahoma City Thunder 2 here, like with Ugo as the first screener, they feel comfortable like switching everything in this action, right? So they can just switch right to Pritchard right there. Shai Will can drop back and stuff like that and have good defense. But it's so different when it's Tatum as the first screener or Brown as the first screener, because whoever's guarding them, they don't want to switch off. But great defense by Ugo here in the Euro step. Listen, it's like watching the future, man. You got Alex Caruso on the fast break, trying to do a Euro step on Ugo. He pulls an Alex Caruso move, does a great job defending that and forcing a miss. All right, so there's a lot of ways you can try to stop Shai. This is not one of them, right? You got Ugo, who I think is a phenomenal defender, especially as a rookie, but it's not too many people that can hold Shai one-on-one. But look at how much space he has to operate. There's going to be a picture up here somewhere, but it will just show how much space that Shai has, and this should never be the case, especially with the teammates that he has. So Joe called the timeout, and he fixes that. And then for the last 2 minutes, so let's get that together. You see how far Ugo's coming off of AJ Mitchell right there, who's actually a good shooter and a good scorer. But you see that Shea has no driving lane this way because he's going to go right into Hugo Gonzalez. So he forced him to pass the ball, and AJ Mitchell misses. And again, same thing here. I like Jalen Williams, but I mean, he can shoot whatever he wants opposed to Shea, man. And anytime, especially on a team like this with a player like this, if you can force somebody else to shoot the ball, you're taking shot attempts away from Shea. That is a dub. He doesn't pass the ball here, but it's a tough shot because he couldn't drive. All right, so this is when the killer wheel offense, the killer wheel pick and roll, and the hunting began for the Celtics. For me, the two pressure points in this game for both teams. For the Celtics, it was AJ Mitchell. The Celtics used Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown as screeners a lot in this game to get AJ Mitchell switched onto them. It was a lot of Isaiah Joe too, but it was mainly AJ Mitchell. For OKC, unfortunately, it was our guy Payton Pritchard. Now, these two guys fight like hell on the defense side of the ball, but they're just small, and that's just how the game goes sometimes. If you don't know what killer wheel pick and roll is, it's just when we have one of the Jays setting the screen on somebody that we want them to get mismatched on. So we have Tatum setting the screen here on AJ Mitchell. The goal is to get him switched, and we get the switch here now. This is very important. Again, AJ Mitchell, all the OKC smalls, they fight like hell, right? But what I wanted was Tatum to be super aggressive, and it's important that he is, and not just with the ball, but before he gets the ball. Now, they're gonna fight this switch until it happens, right? But what I wanted is for Tatum to get the ball like at the elbow, free throw line. But these smalls do a great job of pushing the catch points out to right here. So Tatum has to take more dribbles, takes longer time, the help can come and all that stuff. But Tatum still has the repertoire. He has everything to still be able to create from there. He gets fouled there. All right, so not a good first quarter for the Celtics. They were down 31-20 as you see as this quarter starts. But Jason Tatum in this second quarter was absolutely phenomenal. He did everything for the Celtics. That rip and run to the step back three got things started. I share more killer wheel pick and roll. Tatum's going to set the screen for Derek White on Isaiah Joe. We're going to look to get that switch. Again, the catch point is a little higher than I would want, but Jason Tatum does a phenomenal job of still driving, even though he knows that help is coming from somewhere. Help is going to come from Jalen Williams on this, so he's going to try to come over there, but Tatum drives before that gets there. And again, I talked about the dump balls to the Miskata. You see how Isaiah Hartenstein comes off of the Miskata and up to Jason Tatum. He's able to get it to Nemi, and he finishes on the other side. All right, so I talked about OKC's pick and roll coverage when Tatum was a handler with their big, and then of course they were blitzing and showing two every single time. It was interesting to see the different coverages per Celtic, you know what I'm saying? So when Derek White was the handler, there was a couple quick hedges and Isaiah Hartenstein would get back, but there was also a drop. With Payton Pritchard, it was all drop. But with Jaylen Brown, something very interesting in this game. I think Jaylen Brown only had one pick and roll, like a traditional pick and roll where it was him and a big setting the screen. 99% of Jaylen Brown's handler possessions in this game came as a guard screening for him so he can get the mismatch. So it was none of the traditional high ball screen with Cato or Garza. It was give me this matchup. Payton Pritchard comes set this screen. Derek White comes set this screen so I can get Jared McCain, Isaiah Joe, and AJ Mitchell on me. So that was very interesting to see. But here the Celtics go to Spain pick and roll. The famous Spain pick and roll is a back screen on a ball screener's man. So we have Kata setting the on ball screen. Sam Hauser is going to set this back screen on Kata's man, and he's going to aim to come out to the three-point line after that. And then Kata is going to try to roll. But what this does, right, it gets the big up the floor, right? So sometimes we see teams concede the 2-on-1 in this. So they'll step all the way back to avoid the back screen, leaving Kata and Derek White open right here so he can get this pull-up three or something of that nature. OKC has Isaiah Hartenstein up, and then he's going to drop down. But he's not in the paint. And guess who the low man is now? Is a person that's guarding Sam Hauser, which is Jared McCain. So as Kata twists his screen, Sam Hauser setting that back screen on Isaiah Hartenstein. Now the rim protector, instead of being Isaiah Hartenstein, is Jared McCain, and Derek White finishes. All right, so something else that I noticed, Jason Tatum came out of the second quarter with 9:22 left. He came back into the game with 7:24 left, and that was a very quick rest, especially for the pattern of time that we've been seeing with Tatum as he's coming back from his injury, of course. When that happened, he only got a 2-minute rest in the second quarter. I knew that this was going to be the game where he plays his most time in. Of course, he had a season-high 18 minutes in the first half, and that led to a season-high 35 minutes in this game against OKC. So after the timeout, OKC goes zone, right? And they have Isaiah Joe at the top of the key with Jason Tatum. That is not good, so he shoots right over him. Then after OKC makes a basket, which is usually when you get back into your zone, they say, nah, we're going to put Chet on him. And Tatum just puts his shoulder into him and scores anyway. All right, so here's just a masterful possession by Jason Tatum after the Celtics push, after the make. We got Jay Will lagging behind a little bit, but he's going to get up to the level of the screen eventually, and a great pass behind Chet as he didn't even know where the ball was for a second. Ball goes back to Tatum on Jerry McCain. Look at it. Look. They're going to tilt the floor all the way to Tatum. Again, we have Sam Hauser, who they didn't respect in this game, so cool. But we got Derek White. We got Jaylen Brown over there, and nobody is like, Jay Will's going to come all the way over off of Luka Garza to be right here and tiptoe this 2.9 rule in the paint. Lou Dort is going to take his man, right? And Isaiah Joe has no idea where Derek White is. And Tatum fires a pass cross court right there. This is a great camera angle. You can just see the vision right here, how all this is open right there. And he's going to give it cross court to Jaylen Brown. But look at Derek White and Luka Garza, man. These elevator screen look right here. And this elevator screens are usually set plays. All the time, 99% of the times that I've seen elevator screens used, they've been in set plays. The Celtics just had such high IQ guys that this looks like they just did this. Like they just came up with this in the moment. They saw the pass go, and both of these guys tried to get to Jaylen Brown. Derek and Luka Garza set these great screens. Jaylen Brown gets an open three. All right, so in this play, the Celtics pushed the ball up after a missed shot, and OKC did not have time to set their preferred matchup, so they just had to pick up whoever was closest to them, right? So Derek White gets the ball, Jason Tatum, and look at this, man. Derek White is a good enough shooter to where you can at least be right here, man. Casey Wallace comes all the way off of like completely off of Derek White, and this looks like when Calvin Johnson and Dez Bryant were at the peak of their powers, and in the red zone, teams would just put two guys on them, right, like before the play even starts. And hey, man, if you're gonna guard Tatum like this, our teammates will eat. All right, so the Celtics decided to go small with Tatum at the 5 and a couple important stints in this game here. In this stint, we went small for about 3 minutes. The big came out with 5:33 left, and they came back in with about 2:34. And something that Tatum has not been providing a lot of is rim protection. Of course, a guy coming off an Achilles injury, missing 10 months, his vertical pop isn't going to be the same, right? He's going to have to work back up to that. But this was such a big moment, I think, for us and for JT. You see how pumped he is after this, man. And again, Alex Caruso, you can go ahead and do whatever you want, big guy. And again, when Alex Caruso is a screener for SGA, we do not care. We're going to force him to pick and pop and shoot that pick and pop three. So again, with Cato on him, they're going to call for Alex Caruso to come screen so they can try to get Cato in his action or Peyton Pritchard in his action. This time it's Neemias Queta. But this is what we're going to do every time. Cato's going to be in drop. The person that Alex Caruso just screened is going to chase A. And Caruso is going to have to beat us from 3 on these pick and pops. He was 1 for 8 from 3 in this game. Safe to say he did not beat us. Now, but Jaylen Brown comes back down. The in and out, behind the back on Shea, sees Alex Caruso, takes 1 second to diagnose it, low gather through the help, and finishes through contact. All right, so the Celtics go to horn stagger for Jason Tatum to start the third quarter. This is actually the second game in a row, so back-to-back games where the Celtics ran stagger plays for Jason Tatum to begin the second half. So here, of course, horns alignment, 2 people at or near the elbows of the free throw line. Cater right here, and we're going to have Jaylen Brown come up to it right there. Jaylen Brown comes up to receive the pass, right? Cater's going to set this screen right here for Sam Hauser, and then they're going to both get into the stagger screens, of course. Stagger screens are 2 of the same off-ball screens with just a little bit of space in between them. Bam right here by Sam Hauser. Bam right here by Neemias Queta with a little bit of space. Tatum's going to aim to come off both of these screens. And we saw this on the first scoring play for the Celtics in this video is where, again, they're going to send 2 to Tatum. They're going to show 2 to Tatum. The big is going to be up on Tatum, and whoever just got screened is going to chase from behind. So again, that leaves a 2-on-1 situation with Cater rolling and Sam Hauser at the 3-point line. It's the exact same read. He knows that Chet Holmgren is a big man. He's a rim protector at heart. So the first step he's going to take is towards Neemias Queta. So that pass has to be quick to Sam Hauser. He gets an open 3. He just doesn't knock it down. All right, so to start the third quarter, OKC got up 8 on us and forced a timeout. And a lot of that was due to Isaiah Hartenstein's screening. So it's different from an Alex Caruso screen. They both aren't guys that we care about the 3-point shooting after the screen, but Isaiah Hartenstein is just a much better screener. Of course, he's a bigger body, and he just knows how to screen better. And that got their guys a lot of room to start the third quarter. All right, so the second half really saw the Celtics be able to take advantage of hitting the roll man when 2 defenders were sent to Tatum as a pick and roll handler. So of course, Cater's gonna set this screen, and we know by now Isaiah Hartenstein is gonna come up, and the guy who just got screened is gonna chase Tatum from behind, right? So Cater's gonna be open as he rolls right here. But Tatum does something very smart in this play, right? So he can jump past this, right, over Isaiah Hartenstein, but this is a tough pass even for a 6'8" guy, right? So he will have to get the ball over Isaiah Hartenstein, and then he will have to lob it with Chet coming over to tag this roll of the Miz Cater, right? And you can see Shea right here. He's gonna point to Chet and tell him to tag this roll. So he's coming over here regardless, right? So Tatum sees that and he's gonna pass it to Derek White. What does that do? It resets the help of both Shea and most importantly, Chet Holmgren. So now he's back out to Derek White. Since Chet is one pass away, he has to go back to Sam Hauser and not be able to creep under and tag this roll of the Miz Cater. Great read by Jay Tatum and Derek White. Now Cater's open under the basket for the score. All right, so here we see OKC's different coverages against certain guys. Here the Celtics go to get action with Derek White. He passes the ball to Miz Cater, gets it right back. He's gonna twist the screen and we get into it. But you see Isaiah Hartenstein is in drop against Derek White. Of course, hasn't been that way against Tatum, but Miz Cater's roles is still impactful, right? J-Dub is gonna be the guy that's supposed to tag this roll. So he comes slightly off of Tatum. Tatum pump fakes. Here's a corner three. All right, so this morning I dropped an article on Celtics blog about the budding chemistry between Jason Tatum and Miz Cater since Tatum has come back. If you haven't seen that, my author page is in the description. If you can, go check that out. Of course, the most common action between these two is the Miz Cater setting Tatum a screen and him giving Tatum space to go score. But another thing that's been really prevalent in these 9 games is Miz Cater setting off-ball screens for Tatum, creating the initial advantage, and then Tatum taking advantage of that advantage and giving it back to the Miz Cater, kind of rewarded him for getting him open. So we got the flare screen here from the Miz Cater, right? Gets Tatum wide open, gets J-Dub off of him, right? The pass goes to Jason Tatum, and both Isaiah Hartenstein and J-Dub jump to the pass. Cater got Tatum open. The pass gets Tatum open. Tatum gets it right back, and he dunks on Chet. Now we're back to the killer wheel pick and roll. Now again, OKC Smalls are going to fight like hell, but we're hunting Isaiah Joe here in this action, right? So we have Peyton Pritchard setting the screen for Jaylen Brown so he can get the switch. We don't end up getting the switch on this play, so Jaylen Brown just rejects it with a spin move right there and drives to the basket. Of course, Isaiah Hartenstein is going to come up and try to stop this drive and protect the rim, which means that Chet Holmgren, who was guarding Baylor Scheinman, has to sink down and guard Isaiah Hartenstein's man. But we have a good job by Jaylen Brown, good vision, playing off 2 feet right there, jump stop, and a great IQ play by the Miz Cater setting this screen on Chet Holmgren, and it gives Baylor Scheinman the split second he needs to get this shot off and knock it down. All right, sure, we're going to have stack out, killer whale. Stack out is just an entry. It's usually going to be 2 guys stacked on top of each other. There's going to be 1 guy setting the screen for somebody to outcut to either wing. So Jaylen Brown can go to this wing off the screen or this wing off the screen. So he chooses to come to this side right here. And then, of course, we're going to have the killer whale, right? Peyton Pritchard setting the screen for Jaylen Brown so Isaiah Joe can get switched on him. You see they try to fight the switch at first. He was going to just hedge, but there was no way because of that great screen by Peyton Pritchard. Now, watch how Jaylen Brown manipulates this help. And I talk about his third quarter again being the best quarter of his season to me because the way he manipulated help, he was under control, he was poised, right? So watch this. So he comes to this side, right? Casey Wallace is sitting right here. Watch how this little hesitation resets Casey Wallace and makes him take a step back to Peyton Pritchard, open this lane for Jaylen Brown. So he's going to take this step right there, right? You see how that step makes Casey Wallace take a step over to Peyton Pritchard, make him think that he was passing that ball. He gets all the space he needs, then he spins and gets fouled. And the contributions of Baylor Scheinman, man, 11 points in this game, 5 rebounds and an assist. Did a great job. Just he has the temperament to play in this game. Sky was saying it a lot during the broadcast, but his grit and his confidence is just such a good combination, right? So again, we got Jaylen Brown driving. And he's done this to Shea multiple times. When Jaylen Brown drives, he's coming off of Baylor Scheinman. So when the pass goes to Scheinman, he has to sell out and do a reckless contest because this is a very long closeout and he doesn't want the shooter to get a comfortable look. So he's going to jump, fly by Baylor Scheinman, the pump fake sidestep has got Shea with that 3 times already this season. Then we go down on the other end. He's guarding Shea, does a phenomenal job of just getting into his body, not fouling. You see him using his hands right there to deny the ball. It's 10 seconds on the shot clock. He still has not touched it yet, right? Ball goes to Shea, and he tries to hook his arm right there as Baylor Scheinman reaches but he puts his hand. Look at bro. Baylor Scheinman reaches, right? But then he puts his hand back. He's gonna reach again, puts his hand back, right? And Shea immediately sees that, but it's quick enough to where Scheinman puts his hand back and he hooks him, and the ball goes the other way. And from the second quarter on, the Celtics met OKC's physicality with their own physicality. We saw the poster by Nemi. It's another one here by Jaylen Brown. All right, remember when I talked about the 2 pressure points in this game being for OKC, it was Peyton Pritchard, and for us, it was AJ Mitchell. Perfect possession, man. They get Peyton Pritchard switched on to Shea. He actually plays, I mean, I don't know what else he's supposed to do. That is great defense by Peyton Pritchard, but Shea, 10 for 12 in this game, just incredible stuff, right? But you gonna hunt our man, all right, bro, right? You know what I'm saying? We gonna go right down there. We gonna go Try to hunt AJ Mitchell. We're going to get that switch right there with the screen of Jaylen Brown. And again, the help, the manipulation of the help, the poise, the control, the balance between scoring and passing. So Derek White passed the ball, and you see what Alex Caruso is right now. Watch this pass fake. Pass fake sends him back a couple feet. Now he's out of help position. Jaylen Brown goes right to the rim and gets fouled. All right, so here we got Jaylen Brown coming to this wing. We got AJ Mitchell already on us, so no need for any screens. We're going to clear out. You see Jaylen Brown telling everybody to move, and you see how Casey Wallace is so fixated on Jaylen Brown. But it is such a luxury to have spacing, but not only spacing, but premium spacing. And when you have a guy like Peyton Pritchard, the team is helping at the nail, and he does not have to be right here. He was just standing at the three-point line, and that was the only place that he could shoot the ball from. That's a shorter closeout for the defense, right? But when you have a guy that can hit from the hash mark, there's no way the defense can get back to that. All right, so here again, we're going to try to hunt AJ Mitchell, get into the action. Back screen right there. He had no idea that I was going to get hit with the back screen. Has no choice but to switch on Jason Tatum. We get into the high pick and roll. Of course, you know what OKC is going to do, right? They're going to have Isaiah Hartenstein come up really high up to the level of the screen, and Kate is going to be able to roll. But here in the short roll, Tatum gets him in the short roll. He makes a good decision right there. Don't mind the shot by Baylor Shaman. That is AI. But Kata finishes it. All right, so here's Spain pick and roll again. Very, very high at the logo. You see how high Isaiah Hartenstein is. Then you got Caruso chasing him. Then the back screen right there by Peyton Pritchard. Well, side screen really. But again, it gets Cade an opportunity to get into the short roll. Makes a phenomenal quick 0.5 decision to Sam Hauser, and he knocks one down. And I mean, yeah, man, you can keep trapping and blitzing, showing to the Tatum and pick and roll all you want, man. He's going to keep making the right decision. I see the Celtics did a great job of pushing the ball off the floor. You see their past half court with 20 seconds left. So that means Isaiah Hartenstein is still retreating. He's still backpedaling. Great screen by Luka Garza to get AJ Mitchell off him. And we have Tatum going downhill against Ahar one-on-one. He spins, he misses, but look at Baylor Shaman. The corner crash putback. All right, so we've seen so many killer whale possessions in this game where Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are trying to get switched onto a smaller, are trying to get a smaller guy to switch onto them, whether they're the screener or they're the handler, right? This time we have Peyton Pritchard screening for Jaylen Brown, so Jared McCain can switch onto him. But now we're going to get into the switch avoidance, right? When you keep doing something and it keeps working, the other team at some point is going to make an adjustment, right? So now we have the switch avoidance. So Jared McCain's going to do, he's trying to hedge this for as long as he can until Lou Dort can get back to Jaylen Brown so he can in turn get back to Peyton Pritchard. Peyton Pritchard holds this screen for as long as he can, right? And now since Jared McCain is going back, he's running away from Jaylen Brown. Lou Dort's here. That opens this pocket for the pass to go to Peyton Pritchard. Now we have a 2-on-1 situation with Peyton Pritchard catching the ball on the move in stride downhill. And again, Shea helping off of Baylor Shaman. You know what this is. Pump fake, sidestep, flyby, tray ball. Perfect defensive possession by Celtics. This is exactly what you want to happen if you're playing this Oklahoma State Thunder team. So they try to get into some Miami action. Miami is a handoff into a pick and roll. So we got the handoff by Shea. Then we had the pick and roll right there with Chet, right? Tatum's going to drop back. But look at Ms. Kata. He's been tiptoeing his 2.9 rule in and out the paint for this whole time, right? And because he's checking Lou Dort, he does not respect that. So he can just be clogging up driving lanes as he does right here with AJ Mitchell. Of course, and then Derek White comes out onto Lou Dort. Cater's going to pick him up. He picks up his dribble. Shea finally touches the ball again with 8 seconds left. But again, it's just a touch. He can't even get the ball back. Lou Dort is forced to create, and he hits backboard. All right, y'all. I ain't gonna lie. I was a little upset, man. I was kind of mad at this stretch because, listen, all of us know who this OKC team is, man. 11 points with 4 minutes left in the game. They can chop that lead down to 2 in 1 minute, man. You got to do what you need to do to close the game out. And I felt the Celtics just made offense harder than what it needed to be on these 2 possessions. And credit to Joe Mazzulla for calling a timeout on the next possession, right? Who's been the pressure point all game? AJ Mitchell, right? We've also hunted Isaiah Joe, right? Cool. Look who AJ Mitchell is checking. He's checking Jason Tatum. Fellas, what the hell are we doing? Let Tatum screen for Jaylen Brown. Now you got your 2 best players into the exact same action. Let's see what the defense try to do then, man. Let's see that. But then we get him trying to hunt Shea, which of course I trust Jaylen Brown to score on Shea 100%. But again, we're just not playing great offense in the thing that got us there, which was hunting Isaiah Joe and hunting AJ Mitchell, who both were on the court and we didn't go at them. Now, again, next possession, Isaiah Hartenstein just made some BS, of course. Jaylen Brown just goes straight to the basket, gives it to K to Heat. But look at Joe Mazzulla. Call a timeout. Great timeout by Joe Mazzulla. 13 seconds left. Again, AJ Mitchell is on Jason Tatum. He hasn't touched the ball. All right, so as we saw in that last play, Isaiah Joe was in the game, right? Mark Daigneault subbed him in the game with about 4 minutes left, and he took Caruso out of the game. Now, that's very interesting because it's a classic give and take situation. So the give is on offense. Isaiah Joe gives you offense. He gives you space, and for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, that's a player the Celtics are going to be more reluctant to help off than an Alex Caruso. But he's taking away the defense of Alex Caruso, right? So that gives us somebody to hunt. Now we're back to what we were doing. But this is the switch avoidance, right? So he's going to see Isaiah Joe. He's going to hedge right there to stop the path of Jaylen Brown to allow Casey Wallace to get back to his man so he can get back to Derek White. But in this, he basically screens Casey Wallace from getting back to Jaylen Brown. Now, Jaylen Brown got away with some steps, but that's AA. That's AI, man. I don't know what that is. But then we go back on the other side, and it's a classic give and take. He taketh away the defense, but he giveth the offense. And what clutch defense by Jaylen Brown. Contains the SGA drive, and then he does not commit the foul on the pump fake right there. Forces Isaiah Joe to be the one to take a contested shot, and we get the rebound. Well, after he tramples Derek White. But Mark Daigneault put Caruso back in the game with about 1:30 left, and I was so happy. I know who he is on defense, but I knew if the ball went to him in the clutch, he was going to miss that tray. And he misses the corner three right there, and it gives the Celtics an opportunity to ice the game, and Jaylen Brown does just that. But that is a video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe, and share to any and everyone that you can. Just read out there a little bit more. Now, we'll see you guys next video. This is Nick. Peace.